I was accused of something that I didn't do. No matter what's been said by them, they dealt with me wrong. And I can openly, honestly say how I reacted was wrong. And I just felt used.
We've got to talk about 2 legendary moves. How did they come about?
As we're being honest on here, I stole both of them. I'm just being real, bro. First advice I would have said, forget about the women. That's just me being honest.
Do you think you made some bad decisions?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh my days!
In SE Don, Scotty will always be their king of fives. But when it comes to K05, like the king of the world, then they know that's me.
This is a long time coming, not only tonight, but weeks upon weeks. But we finally got Kurt. We've got to sit down with him and chat ball, because there's a lot to go through. 5s, 11s, you name it, he's done it. But Kurt, how you feeling now? How you doing? You good?
I'm alright, thanks. Thanks for having me on the Root Show. You
No
good,
worries,
Abs?
man. Anytime. Obviously, we've got Apple here as well, man. Causing carnage as always.
Ah, come on, behave. I'm a good guy, man. I've at least got good intentions, shall we say.
When?
Always got good intentions, mate. Always got good intentions. I can't help if people are offended by the things that we say. And I said we, not me, because you're just as offensive as anybody else.
Me?
Just saying.
Nah, listen,
Just
I'm
saying.
the host, bro. I just let you go, and that's it. Anyway.
Nonsense.
Anyway, right, got Kurt. We both know Kurt very well. Everyone knows Kurt very well, but we want to start getting into a bit more detail. So, first and foremost, why do people call you K05? That's the most asked question. So I want to get that out of the way. Why do people call you K05? Explain that to us. Come on.
K05 is basically short for King of Fives. And I'm called that because of everything that I've achieved and what I've gave to the five-a-side circuit, should I say, over the last 13 years when I started playing in 2010.
2010, who was you playing for at that period of time?
2010, I started playing off for a team called Hamilton from Fulham. So basically, it's my area, and the borough was sponsoring a five-a-side team. So it was basically the best players from the area. So my team was like me, Yannick Balassi, Albert Adoma, Aaron Morgan, Owen. Like our team was Kieran Forbes. Our team was serious, I can't lie. But because they all went on to play, where they all went on to play professional 11-a-side, I just decided to leave that team and join another team, and that's when I just said, I actually got to see five-a-side and see the tournaments, and I just said to myself, I want to become the best at this.
Now, we're speaking offline for a second, like, obviously before Abs got here, we talked about you starting at 15, where they didn't even know you was 15, but you're scoring hat-tricks for fun. Talk to me about that story there. Tell us about that story.
Basically, the first encounter I ever had with five-a-side, I was 15 years old, and I was playing for a youth club in West London, and they just asked me to come down to Mill Hill and play against one team. Little did I know when I got there, I found out later, obviously it was like Martin Morgan, Jason Punchin, Zoff. Everybody knows the Cat. The Cat was in goal for them. So I just started playing, and we went 3-0 up. And my team was obviously saying, this kid's 15, this kid's 15. And the Cat was like, called the manager and was like, he's too young to be playing. He's got to be 16 and above. And then the ref was like, nah, watch this kid play. I scored another one. And then the manager was like, yeah, he's good to play, mate. And obviously, just walked away. And we beat them 9-3. And that was the first time they'd lost in 3 years.
3 years, you know.
So and they got patient as well.
Say that again?
I said, you've been balling out for a minute.
Yeah, I've been balling out since I was a kid. Obviously, Fulham. I was at Fulham for 8 years. And then the first ever Chelsea icon, where they done that kid gets a trial to Chelsea. I won the first ever one. Before they put it on TV, they done like an experimental one. And there were 600 kids there. And there's a lot of people that's in my generation that can vouch because they was there too. And I won the first one and got a contract to play for Chelsea. From that, after left Fulham on a mutual agreement.
Cool. Talk us through, like, professionally, how far you got, how far you made it.
Yeah, I played professionally. I got all the way up till I was 16, and I left Fulham at 15. Sorry, on a mutual agreement. And then I went to Chelsea. I was at Chelsea, just about to sign my contract. And then the reason why I left Fulham, that problem come to Chelsea. So yeah, that ended it for me in like playing for Fulham and Chelsea. Because I don't know if people know, but there was a guy called Paul Clements, and he was like Real Madrid's right-hand man, Swansea manager. He got rid of a lot of black people at Fulham when I was at Fulham. So players like Callum Hudson-Odoi, his older brother Bradley, he was in my team. Outstanding footballer, like 10 times better than Callum. Like, no disrespect to him, but a million times better. But he was on the short end of the stick, just like me. So football, when I got released from Chelsea because of Paul Clements, I kind of gave up and then took the wrong path, if I'm honest with you. And then
Kurt, do you feel like now? Obviously, listen, we know each other well on it, and we go back a long way. So, do you feel like there's a lot of things that have happened non-football related? I think that's probably the best way for me to put it. Do you not feel like there's a lot of non-football related things that have happened in your life that has really affected your football and stopped you from really achieving what you should have done?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Because if
we're
keeping it a buck,
I'm not going to sit here and justify it.
Mm.
I'm not going to sit here and justify it and say, yeah, like make any excuses for it. But if I'm honest, yeah, there was a lot of things in my life that I wouldn't say it stood in my way, but it just made it a lot harder to achieve my goals.
Do you think you made some bad decisions?
Oh yeah, 100%, a million percent.
What would you say to anybody else that's in the position that you were in back then, outside of football, but people that have got careers, sort of career paths ahead of them? What would you say to one of those young people that are facing very similar pathways that were presented to you at that age?
My advice to them would be focus on yourself. Don't worry about what is going on around you or what people has around you. And hard work, determination. And to be honest with you, it's just the main thing is discipline.
Can I be real with you about something?
And that's something that I like.
Let me be real with you about something. And it's hard because obviously we're having a discussion that's going to end up going out to thousands of people. But I guess there's no point in having these conversations if we're not going to have a real conversation. Do you feel like as if you've underachieved, not just in football, but just in general? If you look at the people that you grew up with, that you played with, the people that you were around, that kind of company that you kept, do you look at them and go, like, life could have been very, very different?
I don't look at anybody else and feel like I've underachieved. I just look at myself and feel like I've underachieved, if I'm honest with you. Like, I can't look at other people's lives and be like, oh, I've underachieved because of what they're doing. I've underachieved because of the choices that I've made. And yeah, just the mistakes that's happened in my life. Like, I can't put the blame on to anybody else. And that's what I used to do as a child and younger. And that's what put me in the position that I was in.
What are you doing now in your life that's any different to back then?
I'm giving more. I'm more open
back then I was a lot self-centered. I was egotistical. Like, since we're having an honest chat, that's how I was back then. If I had the mentality I have now, then yeah, it would be completely different. Like, my whole life would have been completely different. But that's all if, buts, and maybes. All I can do now is take what I've learned and try and stop the youngsters from doing the same mistakes that I made.
So, what advice would you give 17-year-old Kurt right now? Because obviously you've seen a lot, you've lived a lot, etc. It's not just football, but there's all sorts of other stuff. What advice would you give 17-year-old K05?
First advice I would have said, forget about the women, the girls. That's just me being honest, because that diverted me.
That's a real one. That's a real
Yeah.
one. It's a very, very real one.
That diverted me. First, I'd say forget the girls. Second, I'd say focus on your football, but also in education, just in case your football doesn't plan out. And then your family, like, obviously your family's there, but you got to focus on them as well, because with the right guidance, if you show them the right respect, you'll get the right respect back and guidance and all that with you. So for me, 17-year-old Kurt would be focus more on your family, not your girls, and your future, and obviously education. That's what I would have said. But for me, I focused on, I knew I was good at football. I got a lot of attention by females, and then I was trying to impress my friends, the people I was hanging around with back then. And that mind swiped me off the bigger picture.
You know, I'm going to be real with you about something. I'm really disappointed with the way that things have turned out for you, because I've known you such a long time, and let's put the football ability aside. Put the football ability aside. I think you're one of the most cleanest hearted people I've ever met in my life. Like, your heart's so clean. And I think external factors have always found a way to penetrate that beautifulness that you have inside you. And that doesn't mean that you've been ugly, but it means that I don't feel like as if you've ever really been given the opportunity to be what you wanted to be. I think you've always ended up becoming what you had to be, not what you wanted to be. And then if you put the football talent next to it as well, it kind of goes hand in hand with who you were as a person. The way that I used to watch you express yourself on the football pitch, and the way that you still do express yourself on the football pitch. Like, listen, I'm very praise shy. I don't like to praise people too much. But Kurt, you literally have a world-class ability. And I do mean a world-class ability. It's very, very rare that you can turn around and say, I know someone that's actually world-class at this game. Like, we're tight. Like, I know this guy, like, he's actually world-class. Like, you can do things that maybe a handful of other people on the planet can do. Like, how does that feel to know that you've got that? Like, you've got something that billions of other people on planet Earth do not have. They can't do what you can do. You've got magic inside you, Kurt. Absolute magic. Like, how does it feel to know that you've got that in you? Like, for someone to call you K05, King of Fives, that's royalty. Like, that's a very, very profound thing. Like, what does it feel like to be that guy and to know that you've got all of this inside you? I know how frustrating it was for me to coach you and see all of the things that you have inside you, but then also see the conflict that you have within yourself, and more so your surroundings than I'd say within yourself. But to see the conflict and the chaos and see the way that it really affected the way that you could really go and express yourself and kind of go and live. Because I feel like people like you live through the football. And I feel like it's those guys that become the best footballers in the world. Guys like you, guys like Robinho. Imagine being able to put Kurt, K05 in the same conversation as somebody like Robinho. But that's the reality of your ability. That's the reality of your skill set. Like, how does it feel to have that kind of power within, like, inside you?
Do you know what it is for me? it I'm grateful for it, if I'm honest.
Mm.
Like I'm grateful. Like before, like I said, I was egotistical and I used it, but at the end of the day, like I earned it. Where everybody doubted me and everybody said so much things about me, and I just used it. So when I was winning, I was like using that to say like, ha ha, like I told you so, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But over a matter of time, the older I got, I just realized that I said I'm gonna do something, I've achieved it. Now I've got to be a role model. Do you know what I'm saying? So now it's like it's more like I've had my shine. Inside, I know who I am. I know what I've achieved. Now I just want somebody else and people to see me and see like the hardship and the mistakes I've made, but I've still been able to become number one at something. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like
It's a very profound thing,
I'm
man.
humble
It's
with it
very, very
now.
profound.
I'm humble with it now. I'm grateful for it, and it's paying off because now a lot of people are starting to see what I've brought to the fiber side and what I've done, and now they're bringing me in to show them, pave the way. Do you know what I mean? So I'm humble with it.
Let's talk about you in five aside for a minute. So first off, let's talk about England. Obviously, you represented your country, played for England six. How was that?
Do you know what? It was a great experience when I was doing it. Like the players I played with from 2013 to 2016 when I was there, like it it was it was I learned the best team I played for me was the last one I played in 2016. I learned a lot from the coaches and the managers of that team and playing with that team. And yeah, playing for England, if I'm honest with you, it was a great experience. Like I'm England's all-time top goal scorer when it comes to tournaments. I don't count friendlies. I don't count scoring goals against friendlies or five-a-side or six-a-side teams. I'm talking about in tournaments. I'm England's all-time top goal scorer. So I've achieved goals. It was an honor to play for them. And yeah, that's it really.
Why don't you play for him now?
Sorry?
How come you don't play for him now? It's a sticky one.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Since we're on a show and we're honest on this show, it's a fact of I was accused of something that I didn't do, and then they tried to use an excuse about training and my performance, which I knew was bullshit. So yeah, we got into a little conflict. So I stopped playing. Like I got nothing against them. Like I wish them all the best. Like some of my brethren are playing for them. Like I wish them the best. But for me, no matter what's been said by them, they dealt with me wrong. And I can openly, honestly say how I reacted was wrong, but they dealt with me wrong, and I just felt used. If I'm honest with you, I just felt like they used me to get the players that they needed at that time to come.
Yeah.
You understand?
I will say I know a lot about the situation. I know obviously I know a lot of the players. I know the coaches as well. What I will say is that irrespective of what people say, everything you've ever done will always stand before you. And like you rightly just said, you are England's all-time top goal scorer. And that's something that can never be taken away from you. I know a lot of the players, not all of them, but I know a lot of the players. I know the coaching staff. I've heard the things that have been said, ugly things, things that I know couldn't possibly be true. But there's one thing that nobody can ever take away from you, and it's everything that you just said. You're the most dangerous man that's ever played for their country. You're the record goal scorer for England. These are things that can never be taken away from you. So, irrespective of the lunacy and the idiocracy of what happens in football. And you and I both know the politics and the nonsense that can occur, and it doesn't always sound logical, but that's because most people, or not most, but a lot of people involved in football aren't necessarily the smartest, and the way that people behave and the way that they carry themselves isn't always the most honourable, and it certainly isn't done with the most integrity. And I know from what you said, because I had my own opinions on what's gone on, the influence that's there when you're put in a squad, and when you pick up the phone and start talking to players and going, listen, we need you at this tournament, I need you at training, I need you to come and do certain things, we know that's going to bring levels. And I think you're right to feel the way that you felt. I think you're right to feel used, because you were used. Let's be honest. I think you were used. You were used for your name. You were used for your talent, and you were used for your pool, your public pool. Because I think with you involved, you brought a lot of attention, both on social media because of your following, the amount of kids that worship you, and the amount of players that look up to you, everything that you've achieved. Yeah, absolutely right. You were used. But at the same time, what I'd say to you is that comes part of the territory. Um, when you've got a talent, you have to understand that people will always use you. They'll always love you as long as you're useful. They'll always keep you around as long as you can give them something. But I think what you could have done better, perhaps, is it's not something that I'm very good at, to be honest, because I don't really do the whole politics thing. But I think you could have protected yourself a little bit better, by maybe, and again, it's like if you have certain types of people around you, you're going to behave in a certain type of way. And I would have liked to have seen you have a certain type of person around you that maybe would have brought out a more calm response, um, in a way that would have had you. Look, listen, let's be real about something. You probably should be running that whole England setup. Somebody like you, a legend, five-a-side royalty, should be running that England setup. That's not to say the people that are running it now shouldn't be. I'm just saying you pass the torch on to someone that's been the best at what they do, somebody that understands it more, and that's just my thoughts and feelings on it. So, but again, I would have liked to have seen you have some people around you that maybe could have been a more positive influence, and maybe would have guided you towards that kind of direction, as opposed to kind of letting you be aggressive, letting you be angry, and let you kind of tick all of those stereotypical boxes, if that makes sense. Because I think that's kind of what they wanted. They wanted you to look like the villain. Like, do you know what I mean? Anybody that knows you would know that you're not the villain like that. Sometimes people do things, cool, but sometimes people set you up, uh, because they know how you're going to react, and they kind of do certain things on purpose. So I actually feel bad for you in that situation, because there's snakes in certain camps, and I know that. So, and it's techie. It's very, very techie.
Should I be honest with you? Should I be honest with you? The truth of the matter is, and this is me being 100% truthful, when they told me that I wasn't going to Turkey because of what happened, I kept my calm for about 6 weeks. Like, I've got voice notes, I've got texts. Like, I was calm with it. I was just saying, can you just tell me the truth? Like, what's the real reason? Like, we can come to terms with it. How can we work around it? Do you understand? Like, what have I done? Do you know what I'm saying? And it was only through a source of when they got to Turkey of what the real reason was, is that I messaged the management and said, well, this is the reason. And then it was, they swiped that and asked me back for the kit. So I was just like, you know what? Like, you believe that, so have it. And it was just the way they dealt with me after that is what got me angry. It wasn't before. It wasn't me not playing for England, not being a part of the setup. It weren't about that. That's your decision. I respect that. It was how they threatened me. That was it. You understand? So, but I don't lose sleep over it. Do you know what I'm saying? I've been there. I've done it. Like you say, I've wore the T-shirt. I'm England's all-time top goal scorer. I wish you lot the best.
So yeah, moving swiftly on. Let's talk about your time at Takers. Obviously, a club that both you two know, man. Like, so talk to me about that time there, because Takers was like the hottest thing coming out of Northwest London. Man, look at Apple smiling now. Look, it brings a smile to his face. You don't see that smile very often, do you? But talk to me about your
The,
time both there.
the story of Takers for me was basically they was a five-a-side team. They was holding their first five-a-side tournament, and a couple of people from Power League was like, well, if you're holding a tournament, get K05 down. Like, that's the team to beat. So I went down there. Shay introduced himself to me. Obviously, there was a bit of my team's going to beat yours, all of this. Obviously, my team ended up winning it. And then Shay approached me and said to me, like, would I be interested in starting something up with him? Like, doing something with Takers. So I was just like, yeah, cool. So that's when we started rounding up people like Rondo. Like, he had players there already, but then when he was looking to take it like serious, that's when like Rondo, Monts, like all them people started to come in, played our first season, and then yeah, we just grew. And then Shay got Apple in as a proper coach because I wasn't at the games as much, because what people don't know is I was banned from 11-a-side for 5 years. And the only league that really didn't want me being a part of a team was the Barnet League. For some reason, I didn't know. So when Shay put the 11-a-side team down and he put me down as a manager, they said that I couldn't be part of Takers because of, like, I couldn't be there, part of the management. I could go to games, but I couldn't be on the sideline or none of that because of my ban. So that's why you don't see me talking on the camera, or, do you know what I'm saying? I was just like in the back. I was giving players talks when the cameras weren't there and stuff like that.
Okay, and then Apps, obviously you know Takers very well. You came in and stuff like that. How did you two work together? Like, how did you two coexist?
Do you know, it's an interesting one because obviously I've known Kurt a long time anyway. Always seen what he's been doing in five-a-side football. So my expectations of Kurt were always much higher than anybody else's in the group, to be honest. But I think at the very beginning it was really tough for Kurt because I think he was kind of coming in out of, everybody else had started the pre-season and Kurt was doing other things, which I think he needed to do at the time for himself, earning money, doing the things that he needed to do. So when he came back in, everybody was fit, and they've kind of had 4 or 5 weeks of a really tough pre-season, understanding how I wanted them to play, understanding the smaller details of what I needed them to do. So when Kurt came in, again, it was tough for him because he still wasn't actually allowed to play, if that makes sense. But he wanted to be in and amongst the group. And just when he came in, he just wasn't fit. He weren't fit, but not just physically fit. I don't think he was mentally fit. He weren't quite ready for what we were doing at that time. And I think, again, it's just, he had a lot of things. Respectfully, Kurt, stop me at any time. I think he had other things going on that were really more of a priority, and it was quite clear that he had other things that were more of a priority going on at that time, just in his life. And they're things that I completely respect. So it was just timing, really, if I'm honest. Like, I just don't think the timing was amazing because he had things to deal with in his life. And even beyond Takers, like, you know, me and Kurt stay in touch and he'll say, yo, like, I'm trying, like, you know, my back's still hurting, this, that. And again, I probably, if you don't want me to talk about it, just tell me, shut up, innit? Like, give me the look. But like, obviously, Kurt had some issues with his back, so it's just like some real chronic issues, and that these are all things that people just don't know. Like, obviously, life happens, and you're getting old, you start to pick up injuries and sicknesses and all these kinds of things, and they all play a part. And it's not, listen, Kurt's always been someone that loves football. He's never needed to tell me that he loves football. He's always shown that. So when he was trying to get back fit, he's trying to get fit against all the odds. He's got things going on in his life personally. His body wasn't really in the best of positions to get to even allow himself to get fit. So he was just kind of between a rock and a hard place. So it was the easiest thing for me was to just say, listen, Kurt, when you're ready, come back. This door's never going to close for you. Like, this door will never, ever close for you. Like, there's a friendship, there's a connection, the club, everything else. The door's never going to close for you, but just make sure when you come back, like, you're ready to go. But I think by the time Kurt was ready to come back, I had to move on from Takers. So it was just the timing always was just off. Like, the timing was just never amazing. But again, it's like I think that mutual respect of between me and him has always been there. He'd shout me, call me, text me, and vice versa. So we've never lost contact when it comes to football, and even just in life, we've never lost contact.
Yeah, well, like I said, like Apple's known me for a long time. He ain't gonna talk rubbish about me. Yeah, at that time, I wasn't in the right frame of mind. Football's always been my therapy, and when I'm in a bad place, football always gets me out of it. But Apple's right. Sometimes my mental is not in the right place, and my body might not be in the right place. But I love football, so I'll do whatever I can to play. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, I couldn't play for Takers, but I wanted to be a part of even training with them. Do you know what I'm saying? That even though people would come to me and ask for advice on their game and what they can do better and stuff like that, I still wanted to show them, all right, cool, like, even though I can't play, I'll train with you lot. But I wasn't fit enough. And then that got to me where I weren't fit enough, and plus I couldn't play. And that was then more overpowering and overbearing than not playing. Do you get like wanting to play and not being able to play and not being able to do this and not being able to run or keep up with the team? It got to me more because people see me as a role model and as an idol. So I just decided to, instead of coming training and trying to play, I just come to the games and gave advice in any way that I could. Do you know what I'm saying? Like pointing things out to Apple that maybe Apple hasn't seen, or do you know what I'm saying? Or little advice that I would do if I was there. Do you know what I'm saying? Because Apple respects my decision, innit? Like my, not decision, sorry, my, what's the right word?
Knowledge, experience.
That's it. Respects my knowledge and experience of the game. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying he'd use it, but part of what I say might help in what he wants to do as well. Do you know what I'm saying? So that for me worked well.
And it was definitely a good combination. It was a good combination because there were players like Monts and probably Rondo as well that kind of needed to look to the touchline. And sometimes you need somebody else that's going to be maybe a good cop, because I spent a lot of time being bad cop. Let's be real about that. So sometimes Kurt will come over and it's like they needed to see Kurt. Like they needed Kurt so badly. They're like, Kurt, I can't breathe. He's got his foot on my neck. I can't breathe. And Kurt's like, nah, listen, he's right. But listen, don't worry. It's going to be cool. And I'd hear Kurt kind of giving that nurturing experience. And I'm like, yeah, cool. That's what needs to happen. Because listen, Rondo used to get it. Like Rondo used to get it. In fact, he still gets it, and he don't play for me, which is scandalous that he don't play for me, by the way. But yeah, no, he still gets it all to now.
Well, again, moving swiftly on to the team we play for now, SE Dons. You know, I see it every week now on the Dons channel, dominating. The K05 is back. In fact, I've got a question about that. And I'm sure you've been asked this before, but I want it exclusively on here. So I remember, and you probably know what's coming as well. I remember there's another player that was called K05 in that team, Scotty. Now, when I seen that, I was like, I swear I know Kurt as K05. So there must have been a conversation between you two to be like, okay, bro, this is kind of my tag. This is my thing. Like, what? Talk me through that conversation, bro, as we're being honest. Come on.
Do you know what? If I'm honest with you, I've never had the conversation with Scotty. Do you know what I'm saying? I've never had that conversation. And it was cleared up. It was kind of cleared up. Like Strapsy cleared that up on one of the games. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when they was
promoting SC Dons and they jumped on the fibre side. Like Scotty is well known down Eltham and down Southeast London. I knew Scotty before SC Dons and all of that. I knew of him. I didn't even know he played for them. And I'll give him his flowers. He can play. Do you get it? Like he can play. But what it was for me, again, back then when they joined in 2015, 2016, I was egotistical back then. Like I've just got that name. Like I've had it a couple of years. I've worked hard to get that name. And then it was just like someone else is getting called it. And because they was on YouTube and all that, it's like more recognition. And I'm like, huh? Like, what? Do you get it? So
Yeah.
It was just it's just a fact of like they say, in SC Dons, Scotty will always be their king of fives. I respect that. Do you get it? No problem. But they've shown the respect to see, like, when it comes to the K05, like the king of the world, then they know that's me. Like they've said, I've done everything, I've proved everything. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's no disrespect to him.
The world. He said the world, not just like South London. It's like, yo,
bro. Like, hey, look, let's just be real. Like for me, like I've won world championships, I've won European championships, I've won global championships. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, yeah, I am saying, all right, say the UK, but for me, I'm saying the world. Like I've been to Dubai and got team of the world. Do you know what I'm saying? Player of the CR7.
I was about to say player of the tournament, all of that stuff. So you've got the accolades to back up what the name is. Like it's not even a joke thing. Like you've got that.
That's it. So for me, it's like they respect me as K05. They call me K05, innit? So they respect it, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? And I respect their team, and that's why I've gone there to play them. It's not it before, like obviously when I was at Takers and it was SC Dons, there was a bit of back and forth. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're Takers, they're SC Dons. There was never no disrespect. It was just football rivalry. You know what I'm saying? But time moves on. I've now joined SC Dons, and that's how it is, isn't it? I'm K05. Scotty's their K05. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're all big men now.
So the two can coexist at least. At least there's going to be no punch ups in the car park or anything about that. About the name side. That's cool. Cool. I want to talk about the legendary. In fact, two legendary moves. I've witnessed them because I filmed them myself even before you stepped on and put on SC Don shirt. First one is the drag back. Now that has been selling people for years. That's been selling people to Tesco's, Asda, Audi, you name it, Waitrose. That's mad. And then the second one is the back heel as well. I don't know how it keeps fooling people, but it fools people and it bags goals. Talk me through them two moves. Like how do they come about?
Well, again, as we're being honest on here, I stole both of them.
I love the honesty.
I'm just being real, bro. Like all the great players, step overs, like whatever, like they take it and they just master it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for me, I took the drag, like I said, I took that from Zoff. Zoff done that to me when I was 15 years old in that game I talked about earlier. And since then, I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'll take that. And then the back heel, I'll be real, I took from a guy called James that used to play for the Cats team called Liberties.
Yeah.
He's done it for Highgate Albion on Sundays, like the back heel. Again, I took that from him and just adapted it to my game. Do you know what I'm saying? So the drag I've done for a lot longer. The back heel I incorporated into my game, I'd say about 2014.
Yeah.
But yeah, the drag I was doing from a kid.
Yeah, because when I'm watching SC Don 5s, bro, and you're sending people left, right, and center, it's like
taking the piss.
My God. Taking the piss, bro. And even when I see you do it in futsal as well, like, bro, all you hear is screeching along the courts, like people going through the doors, bro. I'm like,
bro, you seen me do it 11 aside.
Yeah, I've seen you
do it 11 aside.
Yeah, I've seen you do it 11 aside.
Listen.
Come on, bro.
Anyone that's not seen Kurt do this madness, yeah, please jump on YouTube and just type in K05 back heel. You're going to see a compilation of madness. I've seen people scrambling for the car park after this. No, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. And it's the accuracy of it. It's childish. It's actually childish. I thought I mastered the art of the back heel, not to shoot, but to like pass. I like just deception. This guy took it to another level. He's rolling people. He's off balance. You think he's off balance. He looks like he's fallen over. Bow, top corner. You're going, what? That don't even make sense. Like, what? How did he do that? Like, from the halfway line, is he taking a piss? Nah, Kurt really had people wanting to fight him after games. 100%. Yeah, people wanted to swing punches after this. It's just disrespectful. It's actually disrespectful.